You are watching Xirtus.
Yeah, Being John Malkovich came out 237 days after Kubrick died.
So I get, so the reason why I keep thinking Bach Saga, it's because like Ira Bach, similarly to Kubrick, these guys are, you know, in a position where they're being heard, but they're coming from kind of a lost heritage, right? Kubrick has this lost heritage he talks about with Barry Lyndon and with The Shining, and you know, the idea of Tang the astronaut. We all have these symbols. What is it that they're trying to do? What are they trying to seed us with if they're putting these, you know, autistic number patterns together? If Kubrick's doing it for Bach, you know.
Well, I don't know what it has to do with Bach.
Why was Kubrick allowed to burn through film the way that he did? No one else, no other director in history got the privilege.
If you ask Jan Harlan, he says in an interview where he said very eloquently, Kubrick had the freedom to use time, which is a super Saturnian kind of notion. But that's a good question. Why?
Can I?
Because he was cheap. Because he was.
Can I share something that's crazy in regards to the question you just asked? So, like, when I was looking at the screenplay proposals for AI in the Stanley Kubrick archives in London, I came across this point where, so you're looking at somebody's proposal, and then you're looking at Kubrick's handwriting all the way through, like on the side, and just notes, and a lot of it's just him insulting the person. Like, he's like, you're not even trying, and just trying to get something out of him, you know, the same way he would do in person or whatever. But there was a point where he's talking about the robot in AI, the guy, and he was equating him with the golem or the homunculus. And this is Kubrick's own handwriting, something I wrote down. You're not allowed to take photographs in there, and maybe if you're a student and you can make the argument for why you need it or whatever, but anyway, you can write things down. They search you and you got to put your stuff in a locker, and it's this whole thing. But anyway, I wrote this down. This is Kubrick. He said, "Oh, this was very different from the alchemical conjuring of that bombastic experimenter Paracelsus." I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but anyway, he goes, "who claimed to have brought a homunculus to life a few years earlier by sealing magnetized sperm hermetically within a vessel, heating with horse manure, the feeding with arcane blood. This was true and pious Kabbalah," which was underlined. He says, "Yehuda stamped the word Amet upon the golem's hot brow, erased the first letter, and true would become dead."
You spell out the spirit cooking recipe right there.
So you're right. So this is really interesting because Alex Sveck and I discussed on Always Record many years before I wrote this down. I found this. We were equating the AI of 2001: A Space Odyssey with the Golem, and the shutting it down being the Amet. So Met, like when you see like Met life insurance, that's a joke, right? Because you're saying in Hebrew death. So Met is death. Amet is truth. So you change truth to death once you're done with the Golem, after he's done whatever work he's going to do for you. So you can banish him or whatever. But that's also like a crazy thing with so like Barack. So when you say like Barack Obama, like that's Hebrew for lightning, right? If you add an Aleph to Barak, you get Abarak, which is the Hebrew word for Sirius. Sirius, traditionally associated with the middle column, so to speak, of the tree of life. So you have the sun, the moon, and Sirius, right? Because our sun moves with Sirius, or in the galactic center or whatever. But there's this interesting point there, because you're like, Aleph is the first emanation from Keter in the Kabbalistic tree, right? So, and it's the first emanation that make up the lightning flash, which in European Kabbalah, and even I could argue why even in the 16th century at least, they still treated it with the 777 attribution when you arrange the letters into the 22 pathways of the Kabbalistic tree. If you draw out that diagonal lightning flash that extends through the tree, diagonal and horizontal, it totals 777. If you take the gematria of the screen titles for 2001, right? The Dawn of Man, Jupiter Mission 18 months later, and Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite, in simple English gematria, it totals 777. The film itself moves through the planets that are associated with the Sephirah of the Kabbalistic tree. That's really strange that like you have lightning, Sirius, the Aleph, remove the Aleph, very relatable to the Golem with Amet and Met. I don't know, just
I love when you
I-
Google 777 lightning flash. This is real quick that the thing that pops up is the Boeing 777 being struck by lightning.
Oh, weird.
Which is ties into the whole this whole trope of flight, the flyer, like Danny wears the flyer's jacket, and there's a lot to do that. But the invention of flight has a lot to do with this timeline, the century, and everything.
It was Arthur C. Clarke who had this vision of everyone in the future having their own planes. Like he thought instead of cars, we'll be on planes. He's
I think
very
he was
optimistic.
First person, I think that. Yeah.
No, he's the first person I think to really push it like a PR. Like he was like.
I feel like Jules Verne is under recognized here.
Did Jules Verne propose everybody have their own plane?
I mean, the 1880s, even his son, they were talking about the future being, everyone's gonna have access to. Have you seen the pictures of French Franco-futurism from the 19th century?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I asserted what I did in the way that.
Well, Arthur C. Clarke definitely wanted the American monopoly on that technology.
He definitely did that for computers.
Yeah, hey, Andrea, have you ever talked about in the previous shows regarding the tree lighting ceremony for the Queen's Jubilee?
No.
Oh. Well,
can you go to because David, I want you to explain this because this is basically like lighting up the tree of life.
Right.
It's a very bizarre display.
Right. The Jubilee that they do gets its name from far in the past, ancient times, for the Jewish people. They believed that this was the way that they did things, was that every 50 years all debt would be forgiven and all servants would be released. And so the prophecy in Judaism that you see in the Zohar is this kind of explanation of the grand Jubilee. And that's their belief around what it means for the Messiah to come. So they're like, the Messiah hasn't come until all debt is forgiven and all slaves are released. When debt and slaves are no more, it's not a thing. And so that's why, like, a lot of Jewish people, when they tell them that the Messiah came, they're like, well, why is there still these things, So in 1977, the Queen unveiled the crystal monolith, which was a rejected prop from 2001, A Space Odyssey, which was a type of plastic that had never been used for anything as large before or since that monolith. So yeah, if you type in crystal monolith, maybe it's a Jubilee. It's a, what do they call it? Silver Jubilee. You can find it. I saw it in person a couple times. That's not it. It'll be, there it is. So down lower in those images, it was there. So if you scroll down, see that monolith sideways. So it's in the shape of the screen, right? So it's actually, this monolith is above. They don't show you in these photographs, but it's actually above an ATM that has printed really large free cash, which I find really ironic because, the whole ridiculousness of them having what they call a Jubilee, which is really just a celebration of what they have with no change or anything. It's just kind of this, I don't know. It's for me, it feels like a meaningless ceremony compared to what the Jubilee is supposed to mean. But yeah, they impressed this crown into the crystal monolith, and so this was unveiled on the, I think, 5th anniversary, maybe 7th, I don't know, of so 1968. No, it's much longer. It's the anniversary of the assassination of Robert Kennedy. Was when they unveiled this monolith. Kind of weird.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. So David, I want to use to go over this one, but this will lead to Anne H as well, because this lighting of the tree, the Jubilee beacon at Buckingham Palace in the front lawn, it happened on June 3rd, which is 63. I'm gonna have to go over that number, but
because of the Talmud, the 63 parts to the Talmud.
Yeah, Talmud, but also
what is this, Burning Man? This is what they do.
She was sent into an ambulance named number 63, which I go down. There's some more details, but no, it's not this one. Just go to YouTube. I just sent you a YouTube link, Andrea. In the Twitter, I sent it to you.
Okay. Let me see here.
The Queen lights platinum Jubilee beacon at Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
Somebody says here Barack Obama means lightning from heaven. Lucifer. Well, it means lightning. It doesn't mean it's used in the verse that refers to Lucifer coming down. I'm of the not that I agree with everything Blavatsky had to say, but I'm of the theosophical mindset that when we say Lucifer and we say Satan and we say devil, we're not always we're only talking about the same thing if we all kind of agree that this is all just there's one evil and kind of making a composite out of that, you know.
We had Esoteric Eddie on to talk about how Erasmus mistranslated phosphore to Lucifer, and Andy, you know all about that as well. I mean,
yeah, from a different angle. Yeah, I mean,
Okay, go back to the beginning.
okay.
That's
I don't want to play the actual video because I could get copyright strike.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's the whole double helix. You know, the whole.
You know too. You don't want to mess with the Queen, man. I was told by an English friend who's a music producer that if you sample the Queen, as I guess in the UK, you could be looking at like prison time.
Wow.
Like you're not supposed to sample the Queen because she gives these addresses. You know, she's been doing it forever. And if you take a recording of that and use it for any kind of media, that's one you really don't want to mess with.
Has anyone gone down the Moses is Boba Fett, Jon Favreau's Boba Fett rabbit hole yet? Have you gotten this one yet? So
I haven't gotten into the show Boba Fett,
so I mean, it's hard to watch unless you go strictly for synchronicity. But if you go in for synchronicity, you know, Favreau mentioned something about Moses, and there's this whole thing. You know, you got the helmet that he wears and everything, but the Boba Fett's gematria is the same as Thoth in simple, I think. I forget if it is. If it's simple or it's Jewish. But there's this. But the whole idea was that, you know, he's been kicked out of his alliance, his cooperative, his kingdom, essentially, the gangster kingdom, and he comes back after being raised by the Sand People, right? And the Sand People are essentially, when Moses gets kicked out of Egypt and he's raised by the Lamanites or by the, what do you call them? Like the Arabs, whatever the group is that he's taken in are not Jewish, they're Arabs. And so then he comes back with the skills that he's learned from them and he conquers the kingdom. And they have this entire series mapped out to kind of bring back and rekindle all these geometric, patterns.